Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Today I put together your favorite DIYs for the year of 2022. Each time I posted a video, I paid attention to the ones that got the most positive comments, and I put them all together in one video for you to enjoy. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this project, I asked my daughter to send me some of her baby formula cans because I knew it would be much easier to work with since they're made out of cardboard for the look that we're going to go for today. So the first thing I did was remove the bottom with a can opener, and then you can see that I'm starting to use my hands just to press it down. I'm going to go ahead and remove the paper. See how it's like a cardboard there? It's got a perfect blank slate for craft pictures or anything you want to put on it. I love these containers. If you can think of any other containers like this that are cardboard, I think like hot cocoa is cardboard like this. Coffee sometimes comes in this. It's way easier to make these little pocket cans. That's what we're doing today. And I did take some needle nose pliers and some regular pliers too, just to squeeze the end down. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it looks closed. And see that little piece of paper sticking up? If that happens to you, no big deal. Just wait for the paint to dry and you can shave it off with a utility knife or a craft knife. Here's a free printable. I went ahead and printed it up on tissue paper. The printable will be down below in my description box. I love using the tissue paper method for transfers because it allows you to use really beautiful imagery that's detailed, and it looks almost like it's painted on because the tissue paper is transparent. So I am leaving it on the cardstock so you can see what I did here. I just used masking tape. I taped the tissue paper down on the cardstock, put it through my printer, the right side facing up so that it will print down on the tissue paper, and that's it. It's that easy. I cut it out, and now I'm using a glue stick from the Dollar Tree to apply it to the front of my craft. I'm taking the Dollar Tree cuticle clippers and just twisting them back and forth to put some holes on the side. Super easy to do, easier than a can. And the other thing I really like about the cardboard is that you can get it into a nice graduated pocket so it looks more like a pocket. The can pockets that I've been seeing on Pinterest, some of them, not all of them, but when they pound the bottom, the top is too round and bulky and it looks a little bit distorted. So you don't get that so much with these because obviously they're easier to smash down. So I'm just taking a little bit of the antique wax and I'm dry brushing the front and the back. Now comes time to decorate these. These are so much fun to decorate. I have to be honest, I actually felt like making 50 of these and I couldn't because I didn't have time, but I think these are so cool. So I'm taking some Hobby Lobby ribbon that I got 50% off, and I'm just going to trim the edge of this with the little lace ribbon. It's not really lace. I don't know what you call that. It was in the lace section, but it's almost like a crochet cord with designs, or I'm not sure. It's more like a somewhere between like a crochet and lace, but the Dollar Tree lace ribbon would have worked beautifully too. I just didn't have any. And now I'm using some of this green raffia. I got a great deal on Amazon. Again, the link is down below in my description box if you're interested. It comes in green, red, and then that nice neutral kind of brownish color, tan color, and it's so strong and thick and really kind of performs more like ribbon than it does raffia. It doesn't break. I'm really pleased with it, and it happened to be like one of the cheaper ones to choose from. So if you're interested, you can go check it out. So I take and cut 9 strands in the same length, and then I grouped 3 of them together so they're a little thicker, and I went ahead and taped it onto my table, and then I braided it all the way down to make a cord, and we're going to use this to hang this little pocket here. I'm just pushing it through the holes from the inside, and I decided to leave the green like little tassel out on the edge to add to the look. I just thought it looked so cute when I was done, and I just tie a knot on the outside of those tassels so that they don't come out, and I am going to use a little hot glue to secure them down because I don't want them sticking straight out to the side. I want them hanging down like kind of like naturally like a tassel would if it was made out of yarn or twine. So I glued them down, and then I put a little paper towel in there to fill it up just a little bit, and now I added some Spanish moss on top. And then I'm just going to start adding florals, you guys. It's that simple. These are Dollar Tree roses. They're so beautiful. The greenery right there, I also found at the Dollar Tree. Kudos to them, because I think that greenery is prettier than the one you see, the boxwood on the side that you see me putting in there. I mean, it's very pretty, but I got that one on Amazon. Again, the link is down below. But I'm just going to go ahead and fill this up with different florals. The neat thing about these too is you can make them seasonal. You can change the print. You can use seasonal florals. Really, really fun. Again, this is some ribbon from Hobby Lobby, 50% off. I made a cute little bow with 2 of them. If you want to know how I make my bows, I have a video called 10 bow hacks. It covers every single bow I ever make in any video, so that I didn't have to do individual tutorials each time I do the video, and they are time stamped. So this is just your classic bow if you want to go check it out. But we're all done, and I absolutely love this. This next one is super fun. I've been waiting 2 years to make this, and I finally got around to doing it. So you're going to need one of those little dove containers from the Dollar Tree, one of the little mini planters that you find the succulents in from the Dollar Tree, and this nail polish holder from the Dollar Tree, and a black lid off of a drink. I got this off of a Halloween plastic cup from the Dollar Tree, and you just use the black lid part of it. If you have something similar and you can substitute it, go ahead. And we're going to need some towering blocks. So I glued 5 of the towering blocks together in rows, and once I had those 2 rows, I glued them together to form this square here. It's not a perfect square, but close to. And I'm using some hot glue to glue the little plant pot upside down. I did remove the foam on the inside. I do end up having to secure that with some Gorilla super glue. I'm just letting you know, once I started painting it, it kind of got wet and wanted to come apart there. So all of these pieces, including this one that I'm gluing right now, I do end up having to secure with the Gorilla super glue. So it needs a stronger hold than just hot glue. Even though I'm using a good hot glue, these just aren't great surfaces for hot glue. So there I go. There's the Gorilla super glue. I'm securing everything down. So if you've guessed already, we're making one of those little antique scales, and I saw that piece, that nail polish thing, and it was just the perfect shape. Everything was perfect. That's why it took me so long to make this, you guys, is I couldn't find anything that quite hit the mark for that, and I wanted to make one for my tiered tray. So this is small enough to put on a tier tray, and that's what it looks like when we're all done. And that thing on, that little nail polish thing, it's actually rubber, so it bounces around like a scale too. It's really cool. It came out really, really, really nice. So I painted the whole thing with black acrylic paint. I believe this is a multi-purpose paint, actually. Even though it's acrylic, it does say multi-purpose, so it covers and sticks to different surfaces. I gave it a quick blow dry, and now I'm using some of the Dollar Tree lightweight spackling, which I mixed with some paint. You can use chalk paint or acrylic paint, but it makes it creamier. The lightweight's a little bit too crumbly for me, and it makes it act more like what I'm used to as, I call it the normal spackling. It's just creamier. And I filled it in and then painted over the hole. Now I'm using some of their spray-on adhesive. It was plugged, so I poured it in and used a sponge, and I'm just gluing the face of this little scale down. I think I googled antique scale face and this came up. It's a free printable, and I'm going to go about aging and distressing this. I give it a dry brush of white paint all over. I do decide to do the base solid white and the very bottom of it more of a solid black, so I changed my mind a little bit. But the metal part, the top that's supposed to be, bouncing the scale, I choose a copper from Folk Art. It's one of the metallic paints there, and I make that look like a faux aged copper. And now I'm going to go back and paint the base a little bit more solid white. It's okay for me if some of the black shows through, because that's how an enamel would look if it was naturally wearing from age, and this is supposed to be an old scale. It's supposed to be an antique, but I decide that I want it a little less distressed, so I go back and put a little bit more black paint on the base. And then you'll see me in the front here around the clock. I'm going to be adding little marks to make it look like chipped enamel as well. I'm just touching up where I want the white paint not to show, but I absolutely love the way that this came out. It came out exactly the way I was envisioning it, and it's going on my tiered tray. I found this great little envelope at the Dollar Tree. It is a Valentine's Day item, and I don't know if they're going to bring it out for another holiday, but you could always use other Dollar Tree signs and a utility knife and cut this shape if you want to. I would, because this craft came up so cute that I think it's worth doing. But it's just a simple pattern for an envelope. There's like a little house shape in the back you can see in that shape there. I mean, this is easily something you could do just by measuring it out and cutting. Now I do choose to use Mod Podge to apply this paper because the label was really difficult to get off. I don't know if it was because they glued extra board in between to kind of make it so that you could slip things between the envelope. I'm not sure, but it took about 20 minutes of soaking, and then the glue was still on there and it was a little bit kind of gummy and sticky still, and just not a suitable surface for a glue stick, so I went with the Mod Podge. I glued this paper down. This paper will be a free printable for you down below, and went ahead, did the same thing I did with all the other things. I just trim most of it off with my scissors and then take a sanding block just to kind of clean up the edges so they're nice and crisp and clean. And then that's what we have so far. And now I decide to go ahead and use, I still want it to be a gap just like it was when I bought it from the Dollar Tree, but I want it to look more high end, so I'm using 3 of the towering blocks. I glued them together in a row like you can see right here, and then I'm going to glue them on either side of the envelope, and that's what's going to create the little opening and gap for me so that I can put whatever I want inside the envelope. And of course, anytime you add wood like that, you're going to add weight, which makes the craft feel higher quality, like it comes from a Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Walmart or Kirkland's or wherever you shop. So the way I tackle the bottom here is just to use some craft sticks. These are the large craft sticks. I got them from Amazon. The link is probably down below my description box. I'm pretty sure it is. But you can get these at the Dollar Tree all day long as well. And I just cut off the ends and measured to create a nice flat wooden bottom. Using the furniture pen in walnut, I'm going to go ahead and distress this. Now, the paper definitely soaks up these pens really quick, so don't linger if you use the pen. Move quickly because it soaks in like a sponge, so you don't want it to go too far across the paper. Then we're going to take one of these Dollar Tree wooden hearts again. If you find the package of these wooden hearts, they are so elegant looking to me, the design there. I just think that's one of the higher end little wood cutouts that they've done at the Dollar Tree in a while. I glue that in the center, and now we're using some greenery I got from Amazon. I got a great deal. I will also leave the link down below in my description box, and I fill this up, but I absolutely love the way this came out. We don't often get a lot of these rounds at my Dollar Trees, so when I found them during Valentine's, I grabbed a bunch of these for DIYs. I'm going to go ahead and remove the sticker off the back and give it 2 coats of my white chalk paint. This is a free printable that I made myself, and I will provide it down below in my description box. All of the printables will be in my description box today. And I went ahead and printed it again on the tissue paper. It's my favorite way, like I said. And this time I'm going to take a little bit of water and a brush, and I'm just going to go around the edges and tear this really gently because I want the edges to be a little shredded so that it blends more into my surface and you don't notice the edges as much. So I'm using a Dollar Tree glue stick to glue this down. Again, super, super cheap. You get 4 of them for $1.25. Sometimes you'll see a package of 8 and you'll get that for $1.25. Grab those up. But it works wonderful for a permanent hold with minimal, if any, wrinkling at all. And I like this because you can do super high-end prints with high detail and get it to look almost like a print on your picture, crate, box, wherever you're trying to transfer imagery. The only method that I think beats this probably is like a stamp or those rub-on transfers, because those are pretty invisible too. But when you're dealing with like vinyls like Cricut or stickers from the Dollar Tree, you can totally see those when the light shines on it sideways. The tissue paper, especially if you dry brush it with paint, is pretty much almost invisible. I mean, it's the best you're going to get unless you're this amazing artist and you can paint it on and write it yourself. So I'm taking some more of the raffia from Amazon, twisting it so I can thread some wooden beads on. The wooden beads were like $4.50 for 100 from Amazon, great deal. Glued it on the back with hot glue, added some duct tape for extra strength, and now I'm filling in the top hole with some of the Dollar Tree spackling, and I'm going to add a little bit more white paint over it, and that's it. We're all done. I think this is such a cute wall decor piece. Let me know what you think. In my planter video, I showed how you could take these little containers from the Dollar Tree and turn them into cute, succulent planters. And I mentioned the lids. I was going to use them for another DIY, and we're doing it today. So I'm taking the 2 lids. They have a little bumblebee on the front of them. I just don't care for the colors, but if you glue it together like I did with the Gorilla Super Glue, it becomes a super heavy quality ceramic piece for a tiered tray decor. So I'm going to go ahead and paint it with white chalk paint. Now this chalk paint is, the base of it is an acrylic paint. It's like a multi-surface paint so that it will stick to the glass. When you make homemade chalk paint, it really matters what paint you start with. Like if you want to do furniture, start with a high quality latex paint before you add your chalk paint ingredients. That would be appropriate for furniture. If you're just using it for crafting, stick with acrylic paint. So now I'm using the Apple Barrel acrylic paint in the color Antique Parchment, and I'm just going to go ahead and start painting his wings. Then I use the furniture pen from the Dollar Tree to trace his little body. You can see what I'm doing there. I'm just kind of doing his head, the little stripes, his feet, his little antennas. Next, I'm taking a chalk marker. This is a chalk marker from a line that's super bright, but it is a chalk marker, believe it or not. It's the only one I have. My son-in-law gave it to me, so I'm using it. I'm going to go ahead and tone this down, but just to start with, because I wanted to get some golden colors in him, I'm going to go ahead and do his little stripes with this bright yellow. I'm using Nutmeg Brown from Apple Barrel Paint now to do a little bit of dry brushing. You're going to see how I go about toning this down. So I'm doing a little bit of dry brushing over the yellow, but it also gives the illusion of the little fur on the back. You know how bees have that little fur? So hopefully this kind of creates that illusion a little bit better than just a solid flat color. So after I dry brushed him with the Nutmeg Brown, I take a little bit more of that Antique Parchment, also Apple Barrel, and I'm dry brushing his head. I'm just kind of toning the whole thing down. I don't want anything to be like really harsh, like it's obviously an ink pen or a furniture pen, just making it look nice and soft. I take the Nutmeg Brown, I go around the edge, the outer edges, and I'm dry brushing it on there as well. And I decide to go ahead and do the center and the sides. You can see what I did right there. I just decided to do the whole thing with the Nutmeg Brown, and I write Bee Bumble on it. In today's world where it's modern farming and everything is sprayed, our little bees kind of struggle to find food that's clean and safe enough to eat. So leave those dandelions on your lawns. Don't spray your flowers. They pollinate our crops, they help feed us, and we really need to help them back. They're so, so cute. And did you know if you see one tired on the ground, you can give them a little bit of jam or honey and help them on their merry way. I love keeping these extra thick rolls for my heavyweight foil. They are great for DIYs, like they are super, super strong. I'm showing a utility knife here, but I end up cutting it with a saw because it was just too thick. There's the approximate measurement for those of you that would like to see that in case you want to recreate this. These are a little bit thinner than the standard paper towel rolls, so just keep that in mind. Paper towel rolls are too thick and they're not strong enough either. You need that center roll from the heavyweight foil. I have 3 of these Dollar Tree wooden boxes, and I'm just going to go ahead and give them a coat of white paint. Now I'm taking the Dollar Tree large craft sticks. I'm just cutting off the very tip where it starts to curve so it's nice and straight. It's because, of course, I don't want to just have cardboard there. Even if you paint it, you can kind of see that line on it. So I'm going to cover these with some craft sticks. If you're really good at painting and dry brushing and disguising stuff, you could paint it. You could also watch my video on DIY birchwood and use that method and make them look like birchwood in the center. That would be really pretty too. But for this DIY, I decided to cover them with craft sticks. I'm going to go ahead and paint the craft sticks with a coat of white chalk paint as well. These are some silicone molds I got from Amazon. They are great for making these little decor pieces and accents, but in order to have a successful outcome with the hot glue, you really do need to push the tip of your hot glue down into those tiny little crevices, those little small ones. Just stretch the silicone out, press your glue gun down and squirt. You can also put them in an oven and heat them up that way till the glue's melted if you want to make sure it gets into all the crevices. But either way, when you pull them out, you are going to have some cleanup work, and it's easily handled with some sharp scissors. And well, I used cuticle clippers, sharp scissors, and the glue gun to remelt off little areas where like the clippers couldn't reach inside a circle area where there was a thin membrane of hot glue. I would push my glue gun through that area, and it really quick because it's super thin. In fact, you don't even have to touch it. Sometimes you just hold it close and it melts, and you move really quick so that you don't change the shape. But that's how you go about cleaning this up, and they come up absolutely beautiful when you're all done. I'm using the color Elephant Gray from Apple Barrel Paint, and I'm just dry brushing it around the edges and leaving the center white so it creates that nice cloudy look. I'm also leaving the middle of these wood because I love that they're real wood, and I love that that shows. And of course, I go ahead and do some dry brushing on the center pieces as well. I'm going to use this metallic paint by Folk Art in Sterling Silver to paint my little molds. And then I gave them a quick blow dry so that I could glue them on the front of my boxes. I am using a hot wood glue by Surebonder. It's down below in my description box, but I have to say that because this is cardboard to wood, it's like wood to wood, it stuck super hard. Like, you cannot move these, so make sure if you're making adjustments with the trays, you're doing it while your hot glue is still wet and liquidy, because once it sets up, you're not going to be able to change it. So you can see here how I'm turning it, and I recommend you do the same thing because I had to make quick adjustments. You can see right there, just to make sure it's even from all 4 sides. For the top box, I decided to do it a little bit differently. I decided to glue it first down in the middle, that way I was sure it was in the middle, and then glue that to the second box so that I could make the adjustments in the front, back, and sides, and it worked out really, really good that way. It came up perfectly even for all 3 trays. This is what it looks like when it's all together, and it is very sturdy. I just want to let you guys know that. You can store heavy stuff in this. It does not move, and it's pretty heavy too. My daughter's using it on her vanity for her makeup. I'm taking some white paint and just dry brushing the front of those little molds to make them look frosty, and then just tapping some of the Folk Art metallic paint in copper on the front, and that's it. This came up absolutely stunning. She loves it. I love it. Highly recommended craft. I hope the camera does it justice. This is some chicken wire that I found at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if it's supposed to be real chicken wire or like cheap chicken wire, or it was over where the plant pots are, so it's possibly for your garden to cover up and protect your fruits from little critters. But I'm using it today to make a super cute DIY. So I'm just going to kind of pick a size that I want and bend it in half, and then use my wire cutters to cut it straight across. And then I'm going to go ahead and take something big. So this is like a plastic vase that I found at the Dollar Tree, but you could use a box, you could use a big huge like plastic container, anything that kind of helps you keep the chicken wire open, because you're going to need to kind of spin it and twirl it in like I am on either end. And I'm also going to be taking the bottom corners and kind of rolling them so that they look round, almost like in a purse shape. I'm actually using the wire that came with this chicken wire. It's what wrapped it up. It's a pretty generous piece, and I just cut it in different sections, and I put, I twisted one down at the bottom, in the middle, and at the top. You can also use the actual chicken wire, like the little ends, to twist it around if you want to as well. I think that would hold it. I just did it to be extra careful so that it wouldn't fall apart. And you just have to be patient and keep working with this. So once I had it in a pretty good shape, I took the plastic container out and started bending it in the opposite direction so that it wouldn't curl in on itself. And I just continually shape this, move this, bend this. I did it without gloves. It's not too bad because it's not real chicken wire, but you might want to use gloves if you want to be a little bit rougher with it. And now I'm taking some of the Dollar Tree nautical rope, and I just looped it through and then glued it together like this. And then I took some of the same nautical rope, but I took it apart because it comes apart in a whole bunch of different strands. But I just kind of, right there, I just kind of took, see how there's multiple strands? I just kind of took that thickness. It almost looks like there's 3 strands that you can pull apart, but actually there's tons of strands in there depending on how tiny you want to go. So I just kind of took the chunk that looked like one of the 3, and I spun it around the top of that nautical rope to cover it, and then I'm going to glue it. And I did that on both sides to make little handles. Now I'm going to use some of the Spanish moss, like a huge amount of it. And I'm going to shove it in there. That absolutely helps hold it open at that point. And then any little rough edges like this at the top, right there, I'm going to clip them down as far down as I can to make them nice and smooth. And I'll end up bending those little top pieces over as well, just so it's not so pokey, so you don't get poked. That's just to finish it off a little bit. And then you just tuck in your favorite florals. That's it. I decided to use some white roses from the Dollar Tree, and I'm not sure what that greenery is. I think it's supposed to be eucalyptus actually from the Dollar Tree. And a little bit of the boxwood, just different greenery to make it look pretty. And you end up with this beautiful, almost like purse. It's a floral purse, like a floral garden. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So here's the size box of towering blocks that I try to find at the Dollar Tree. It's way more cost effective. If I can't find it, then I usually don't make things with the towering blocks, but I thought since I had a big box, it would be fun to have a go. So for this project, I'm making a window, and to start with, so you're just making little rows of 3 that go on the top and the sides and the bottom, and then you're going to put the little 1 towering block in the, I don't know how to say that. I guess it's just inside the middle to make the window little panes. Is that right? I'm not sure. But I don't like the seams to be really, really pronounced. That's the one reason I usually don't make a lot of things out of the Jenga blocks. This is the challenging part of Jenga blocks. So I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree lightweight spackling. I like to mix the lightweight one up with a little bit of paint, and it can be any kind of paint, and then I stir it up, and it kind of makes it feel and perform more like a regular spackling, at least the kind of spackling I'm thinking of, where it's a little heavier and creamier. That works really well. Now, I didn't get rid of every single last seam, but I definitely made it look less noticeable. So now I'm making the bottom part of this window, and I just did 2 blocks at the bottom in little sections of 3, and then I did 3 of the blocks glued together, 3 in the front and 1 on each side. And if you get some glue on the bottom there, I am using hot wood glue. Now, if you do not have hot wood glue, I do recommend you do this with a cold wood glue, because I think it's going to fall apart otherwise. It might not, but I've had bad luck in the past. But those little clippers on the side, those cuticle clippers, they're from the Dollar Tree. They're not really sharp, but they're perfect for a crafting tool, and they're perfect to pull like the little globs of hot glue once they're dry that you don't want showing on your Jenga blocks. Or I'm sorry, these are towering blocks. And they are also not perfect. That's one thing that I learned when I was working with these. They are in different sizes, shapes, even heights. So they're difficult to kind of make things with, I think, or not difficult, but challenging, because you do have to kind of match your pieces together. So I tried to section them all off, like the small ones here, the thicker ones here, and then use them in groupings so that it came together hopefully better. Now I'm using the apple barrel paint in the elephant gray, just doing a little bit of dry brushing to kind of distress this little window box. This is a great tiered tray decor piece. And now I'm using the, again, it's the floral moss from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using some boxwood that I got on Amazon. You can get this at Walmart. I think I got a great deal on Amazon. I can't remember. When I bought it, I think it was on sale, so it was a great deal. I got a big bundle, and I'm using a mix of the lavender from the Dollar Tree and other florals that were out during the springtime. I think they're still there during summer as well, but I'm just mixing it up to kind of make this look like a little flower window box, and this came out absolutely so adorable, you guys. Let me know what you think. Another one of my absolutely fun favorites is the wooden children's puzzle. The other side is wood, found in the toy section at the Dollar Tree. I just took the numbers out and then glued them in with a hot glue gun and stuck them back in so the back stayed nice and flat. You can cover it with paper if you want to. Here's the apple barrel paint in antique parchment and burnt umber, and I'm going to use those 2 colors to create a little bit more dimension and entertainment for the eye than just flat white. Now, I did paint the wood side white already, and it dried. This is my homemade chalk paint. You can find the recipe for my chalk paints down below in my description box. I've got some great videos on how to make non-toxic chalk paint cheap. And the first one is kind of hard to find in the USA, so now I'm only listing, you can find that in my popular videos if you're interested, but the second one has 3 different options. I actually think they work, at least one of them works better, and it ended up being cheaper now because the price has gone up on the other ingredients. So I now list that video for you to watch, and you know, again, can find it in my description box. So I'm just using a little bit of the antique parchment, then a little bit of the burnt umber, and wherever it was too dark, I just went over it a little bit more with the antique parchment. Look how pretty that looks. I love that look. I just think it's so, so pretty. But I'm using the burnt umber on the edge to distress it a little bit, and now I found these beautiful rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree during springtime. Actually, they still have them there. It's summer now and they still have them. But if you don't want the word spring on it, you can certainly just avoid rubbing that off, or you can write the word summer in place of it. I don't mind the word spring, but the rest of the imagery is perfect for summer. The bike, the butterflies, the flowers, everything. I thought, wow, this is great for summer. Again, I don't mind that it says spring. But I'm just rubbing it off using the back of my scissors. And if you're missing a section, like if you lift it up and you notice the section is not on, don't panic. Just put it right back down and rub again. It will come off. And then I'm using the raffia to thread some of the wood beads that I got from Amazon. Those were a really good deal. When I got them, they were $5, and they're often $5. So if you're interested, check it out. And I made a beautiful little wooden bead hanger. I just thought that was so cute. There's a knob from the Hobby Lobby clearance aisle that I got for 35 cents. Beautiful. I got like 4 of them. And I showed you that you just screw in reverse to take that little screw thing out. And then I use the Gorilla super glue and a little bit of hot glue for an instant hold, just to kind of glue it down so it doesn't go anywhere. I was originally making this for a key holder, or I don't know, you can hang anything you want. I end up hanging dried flowers on it, but it comes up so beautiful. So this is a very, very tall whiskey bottle that one of my neighbors offered me, and I thought, yes, I'll take that. It's really heavy and thick, it's good quality, and it's huge. So I thought I could do something pretty with it, and bottles are always fun to work with. So I'm giving it a coat of my homemade white chalk paint. If you'd like the recipe, the video for that is down below in my description box. I give you several different options on what you can use for that. And after the paint is dry, I do have to do 2 coats, by the way. And after the paint is dry, I go ahead and I start taking my antique wax. Now you can use any antique wax for this. I'm using the one by Folk Art, but I'm just gently dry brushing it on. I'm taking my time just to give it a little bit of texture and dimension, and distress. That's the look I like. And then I went ahead and I printed this free printable up. This is from thegraphicsfairy.com. I will have the link down below in my description box. I found these gorgeous butterflies, and the butterflies in a row of 3 like that is just very in and hot right now. It was last summer too, so I thought it would be fun to add this to the bottle. So I'm just doing the old trick of taking the paintbrush, dipping it in water, and going around my little tissue paper and tearing the edges there. So for those of you that are wondering how I print on tissue paper, it is just gift tissue paper. I tape it on cardstock with regular masking tape, and then just run it through my printer, and that's it. Well, right side up so that the print goes up on the tissue paper and not on the cardstock. And then I'm using a Dollar Tree glue stick. It worked brilliantly. I actually wasn't sure if that was going to work on a bottle. I don't think I've tried it on a bottle yet, and it worked great. No wrinkles, perfect adhesion. I went outside, gave this a little light mist spray of the clear lacquer just so the image didn't lift. Really light though. I just misted the front. And then I got this stamp from Amazon, and the jury is still out here. It's supposed to be that fake crackle effect. And I've been seeing, the IOD stamps, just different stamps of the crackle effect. And this got a 5-star review on Amazon. Everybody loved it. And I tried ink first. It didn't work. That's why it was stained a little bit at the top. So I'm just slapping some of the Elephant Gray from Apple Barrel Paint on it to do it that way. And it definitely gives it texture. It definitely gives it dimension. It gives it a whole neat look. It comes up very beautiful. But when everything was said and done, I really, really want to hear from you in the comments to see what you think. But for those of you that have worked with crackle medium there, that's what you end up with right there. Crackle medium is where, or even just glue, you paint a dark color first, and then you put your glue on, let it dry till it's kind of tacky, and then you paint your white paint over it, and it dries with cracks all over. To me, that still looks more legit than the stamps. No matter how good the stamps are, even when they use ink, you just, at least in person, maybe on camera it looks like it's 3D, but in person it does not have that dimension. The cracks look real. It really looks like the bottle's actually old and cracking. Even tissue paper, I think, with glue, my Kleenex trick. Where I spray glue on it and water and it crinkles up. I think that may have even looked more, or even the trick I used to make the birchwood, my first trick I showed you guys in that video, DIY Easy Birchwood, I feel like that would have done more legitimate cracks. So this is a pretty look. It's just not the same look that you get with the actual crackle effector glue. This is actually my husband's favorite DIY today in this video. He wants to keep the bottle because I was putting raffia ribbon on it, wrapping it with that jute twine at the top, putting a rose on the top to give it as a gift, but he's keeping it. So I don't know if the rose, he likes the rose, so it might stay. So awesome, husband. But anyway, we're all done. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I made this beautiful 3-tiered shelf unit here for my daughter-in-law for her vanity. This is where she stores all her makeup now, and she asked if I could make her like a matching container for her hair ribbons. So I thought, why not? I'll try to do that. So I took this container right here and gave it a coat of my homemade white chalk paint. The video link is down below in my description box if you're interested. And I didn't use 2 coats, I didn't need to. I just kind of put it on extra thick, or it was going on extra thick. You can see it right there in the camera. It was covering everything fine, so I just did 1 coat, and I went ahead and painted the whole thing, including the lid. Once everything was dry, I took the antiquing wax and I decided to go ahead and make the lid look like a faux wood. Now, as I'm giving it all its little accents and everything, it's actually bringing out that word enfamil even more, and I thought, oh, no, that's not going to do. So we're going to take care of that in a minute, you'll see. But for now, I'm just going to concentrate on the side of the lid and the edge of the lid. So I grabbed the lightweight spackling from the Dollar Tree. I actually add quite a bit of paint to this spackling to make it perform more like a creamy spackling because it's a little too dry and crumbly for me. You can do that. I mean, there's quite a bit. I would say I add probably anywhere from a 1/4 to 1/3 cup of paint in there, and it makes it go longer as well. You get almost 1.5 to double the amount of spackling, so that's a nice little money saving tip. And I wasn't sure it was going to work on this lids, but I went ahead and I covered the center, and I'm just taking some water and a brush and smoothing it all out. But the lid didn't really have much bend to it. It's a pretty strong, solid lid. In fact, if you guys ever come across these baby containers from either friends, neighbors, or you just are in the grocery store, squeeze one or feel one. They are so strong. And I was pretty sure that the spackling would withstand the movement of somebody opening and closing the lid without cracking. So I went ahead and did the elephant gray and apple barrel paint, did a little dry brushing on the outside and the top of the lid, and now I'm taking, this is a mold that I made with some silicone molds. I've shown it in previous videos. I just squirt hot glue in there, and then it comes out. I do, trim off the little pieces that were hanging over the edges with my cuticle clipper from the Dollar Tree, and then we have these cute faux, like, I don't know, metal. I think they're normally supposed to be metal, but they're super cute for like a French country look if you're into that. They're just perfect for that, and it's super dirt cheap to make them with hot glue instead of the clay, and very, very easy to do. You can even put them in your oven, because the ones I bought, which are down below in the description box, are meant to go in the oven like with heat because they're 100% silicone. So I went ahead and did a little bit of the antique wax around the edge just to give it a little bit more character, and then I like to take a little bit of white paint and bring out the design, and then just tap it with some of that iridescent fluorescent metallic paint that is in copper and make it look like there's a little bit of metal peeking out. And then I take a little bit more of the gray and a little bit more of the antiquing wax. I go around the edge, and here's what I was talking about. There's the cuticle clippers. Once you paint it, you can kind of see the strings that you missed, so just clip them off, no big deal. But we're all done and going on 2 weeks now of use, and the spackling is still holding strong. this beautiful apple pie sign from Hobby Lobby. It was reduced down to $1.99, and it's a great deal because this sign is huge. It stands about 20 inches tall and about 10 inches wide, so it's beautiful. There were some staples on the back that needed to be removed, as well as some paper, so I removed the staples, sanded the paper off, and then I'm just going to give it a coat of my homemade white chalk paint. Now, I also like the front of this sign, so I thought I don't really want to totally make it where I can't use both sides, so this sign is going to be reversible, and the one I'm making can be kept up all year round in the kitchen, or the other side can be all year round in the kitchen. So I start off with this Dollar Tree liner here, and I was actually inspired by this craft here off of Pinterest. She makes these little rustic carrots out of the Dollar Tree liner, and I just thought it was absolutely adorable. So I start off by tracing a carrot shape, and then I'm using the Dollar Tree napkins, but I'm actually using the white part from the napkin. So I'm going to save the front ones in case I want to do some more decoupage with those during another, spring or Easter DIY. But I thought I should go ahead and use the white layer underneath the colored print part of the napkin. Waste not, want not. You just use it because I try to use everything I have, and I'm also trying to give you guys ideas on how you can use everything you have in your craft supply as well. Most people don't use the bottom part of the napkin when they peel it apart for using it to Mod Podge, and it's a great filler. So I just glue the carrot together, stuff it with a napkin, and then I'm using some greenery at the top. Now I created this little sign here. It's actually from an antique carrot seed package. So I think it says something about carrot seeds in French, and I thought it would be fun to kind of try and guess what the words say. I didn't want to Google Translate them ahead of time. So for those of you that don't speak French, you can have a guess with me. I'm guessing they say something about large, extra large carrots in a color. I want to say red. The rouge is like red, but it might mean orange in French. My French isn't that good, you guys, but if somebody knows, leave a comment down below because I thought that would be fun. And I decided that I wanted some Spanish moss at the top, just like the inspirational piece. I do think that looks really cute, and it covers the lip. At first I was just going to leave that little lip at the top, but I definitely think the Spanish moss looks better. So I just crunch it up and I glue it on the front and a little bit on the back, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick my greenery in again. So I wanted to go ahead and use something to wrap around the carrot. Now in the inspirational photo, she uses raffia, and I felt like maybe that might direct it more towards a specific season like fall or Easter. I wanted this to be up in my kitchen all year round, so I went with twine because that's a little bit more neutral, and I wrapped a little bit up at the top, just kind of crisscrossed it, no specific way. I just crisscrossed it a little bit, and then I thought it would be cute to wrap it at the bottom of the carrot as well. And then, as you can see, I glue all three of those down inside the sign. So I wait to put the words at the top because I wanted to make sure that my greenery wasn't going to cover the words, and I do end up putting some more Spanish moss at the bottom just so the carrots kind of look like they're sitting in a field. This is definitely like a rustic craft or primitive craft a little bit because it's the neutral colors, but I think it came up so cute. And I'm taking the antique wax now, and any antique wax will work for this, and I'm just distressing the edge of the border, and I wanted to distress the carrots a little bit, and I also kind of wanted to make them look maybe a little bit warmer like natural carrot. I didn't want them to be that bright orange, but I didn't want them, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but they're very bright white in real life, and so I just wanted to tone them down a little bit and do the edges. Normally I would have done this before, but as I was crafting and I glued them down, I realized with the white background and everything, they just didn't pop enough for me anyway. In real life, I just felt like it was just too much white. So then I do the same thing around the words. I'm just antiquing it a little bit and distressing it just to give it a little bit of character and just, charm. And that's pretty much it. Then you're going to see me go on to make some flower little piece there for the top to cover the hanging hook, because if you remember in the beginning, I said I do want this to be reversible, so I didn't want to take the hook at the top right there off, or I won't be able to turn the sign around. So I just take a little bit of Dollar Tree florals, wrap it up in twine, and glue it on to hide it. I can always pop that off easily, and it's one of my favorites in today's video. Another great deal at Hobby Lobby. I think I spent $1.59 on this sign, and it was originally like $14.99. And I don't know if you noticed when I turned it sideways, it was really thick. So I thought it would be really fun to use some of the jumbo craft sticks from Walmart and start creating little shelves for this and make it into a window box. Now, I also used a blow dryer. You can also use a heat gun to remove the stickers. That's a really easy way to get your stickers off. And also you can use, like if you don't have a blow dryer or heat gun for some reason, you can use some baby oil. Now, baby oil is usually made out of mineral oil, which is a petroleum-based product, so it's a great solvent. It works to get all kinds of goo off, from labels to price tags, you name it. I have been using baby oil for 20 years now. It's my to-go-to. Usually I don't want to ruin my manicure, so I kind of shy away from acetone. And then I don't like working with things like goo off because it is a chemical, and I already craft a lot, so I'm exposed to a lot of stuff, and I try to make, I limit it as much as possible. So I don't know if you guys know that. It's a great little tip. And, you can use baby oil and just let it sit, soak, and things will roll right off. You can clean your labels off as well. Works great. So I'm just using glue here, hot glue. It's actually the color blue coming out because I ran out of the clear hot glue sticks, but it ended up being a great thing because it helped me see exactly where the glue was. So I really glued them down nicely, and I knew I was going to paint this box anyway. And I go ahead and give it a coat of white chalk paint. It's my homemade chalk paint again. You can find that down below in my description box. Now I'm using the Dollar Tree spackling, and it is mixed with a little bit of my chalk paint. This is their lightweight spackling, and it's a little too fluffy and light for me. I like it to be more like the regular spackling, so that's a trick you can do too. You just add, probably in that container I stirred in maybe, honestly, probably like 1/8 of a cup of paint and stirred it all around, and it keeps it from drying out, and it still works perfect as a spackling filler. Now, these are some butterflies from the Dollar Tree. I was actually after their little cloth mini butterflies, but they only had the stickers, so I went ahead and picked them up because I want to show you my idea, and I just won't glue those down. I'll stick them down and wait for the cloth ones to come in and then replace them when the time comes. For now, I decided my box needed a little light distressing, so I used some burnt umber again from Apple Barrel Paint and gave it a nice little soft distressed look. And here I'm just going to lay things down kind of roughly and decide where I want everything to go. I'm not making any commitments just yet. I do decide to stay in the theme of spring for this box because we're still in spring, and I just thought it was so pretty. And I just stick kind of with the theme of flowers, butterflies, love, and eggs, and make a little window box out of that. But of course, you guys can get really crazy with this. You could put little scenes behind each window if you wanted with craft paper, or paint each little window a different color. You can do whatever you want. Just have fun with it. These are the hearts from the Valentine's Day collection at the Dollar Tree. I just saved 2 of them. They're the raw wood ones, and I thought that would be cute to put in the top there. And then these are also the wooden eggs from the Dollar Tree, which I lightly distressed with some antiquing wax, but you certainly could do it with brown paint. I didn't use them for an Easter project I had done, and I thought this would be perfect for this. And then I ended up taking one of the lavenders out of the window there because I thought it just kind of made it too busy and full. And I just stuck some little clippings in for the flowers. So I wrapped one up to look like a bouquet to the right. Then I stuck some lavender down and some little greenery there. And I decided to cover the ugly bottom with, the stems. I would add a little bit of the Spanish moss, but not in every window because, again, I thought that would be overkill. So I just go with a little Spanish moss at the bottom, and in the end, I end up just gluing one of those eggs down. Now, those are also from the Dollar Tree. They're the foam eggs. I painted them to look like wild bird eggs. If you want to see how I did that, I'll leave the video link down below in my description box. But that's it. We're all done, and I think it came up beautiful. So I actually found 2 of these signs at the Hobby Lobby. They were 69 cents each. Really good quality, again, nice and thick and heavy. And I start off by painting them white. You kind of have to have that blank slate. And I make 2 different DIY ideas for you. So I'm going to do these 2 DIYs back to back so that you can see what I did with the same sign. The first one is a little word sign. And even though those are kind of going out as far as big word signs in the house, the little ones are still great. I always had cute little sayings around my house even before word signs were big with Farmhouse. I love that no matter what my decor style is. So I thought this would be cute for our coffee station. We don't have anything decorative there, and it's super easy to do. I did the old print on tissue paper. Now that is gift tissue paper, just like you would wrap a present with, and I used masking tape to tape it nice and tight, not too tight so much that it tears, but tight enough that it won't catch or buckle in your printer. You tape it down on some cardstock, put it through your printer, and that's it. Then I glued it down with a glue stick so it won't wrinkle. Ended up tearing the edges off because I thought that looked better in the long run, and I'm using a black furniture marker just to distress the edges, and that's it. This was nice and easy, and it looks super classy. Next up is this Walmart sign. This is actually not a clearance sign. It is just a regular sign there with the everyday price of $1. You find it in their crafting aisle. And I'm showing you how it comes with that little stick in the back that holds it up, which I thought was pretty cool. And now I'm going to use a cereal box. Now you certainly can use poster board if you want, but cereal box always saves you more money. And I'm taking this letter that I got online. I just Googled antique letter, and that's what came up for Creative Commons. It's where you can do it without copyright. That's what came up. So I have that as a free printable for you. And I just tore it in little pieces and glued it down with a glue stick because I wanted it to be kind of like a collage on the heart. And I used a little tiny bit of hot glue to hold the cereal box in place so that I could go ahead and trace underneath, because there's like a ridge on the back side of the heart where I need this to fit inside it. You'll see it right there. I kind of pop it out. It's underneath the wood frame areas, so that worked perfectly. You know, just use a little tiny bit of hot glue that you can pick off with your fingernail afterwards, and it holds it nice and tight for you. So this is a rub-on transfer from the Dollar Tree. Again, I'm holding it to my camera that can't adjust the focus, sorry. But I love these rub-on transfers, and this one in particular is really pretty. It's all in French, and I thought it was perfect for this frame. So I'm just taking a credit card there and rubbing it off, but I have to tell you, it's really hard to get this off. I really had to rub. So if you use these transfers, be prepared to really scratch and grind it down into the wood in order to get it to stick. I just kept kind of lifting, and if I noticed a letter hadn't stuck down or I was missing something, I would just put it down again and then rub hard in that area, and you just have to be patient, and eventually you get it to come all off. So as you can see, I'm using the leftover part that was in the middle of the heart to finish off the edges of this frame. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not worried if a little bit of wood is showing, because the whole rub off transfer was kind of just a mismatched, collage of love phrases in French, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I thought it came, in my opinion, the more imperfect it looks, the better it looks with this particular craft, the look that I'm going for. And now I'm just using some craft sticks, gluing it on the back of the cereal box to give it more weight and to stop it from curling. And this is a can opener, or not a can opener, I'm sorry, a lid opener, pop off lids. Thought it was so cute because it's like an antique key. It just was perfect for this craft. I used a little bit of hot glue and stuck it down, and that worked fine to hold it. And this is a perfect piece for Valentine's Day, French country, or all year round. Next, we're back to the Hobby Lobby sign. This was another great deal, $1.59, and I'm freeze framing it here so you can see it's $15.99 originally. Again, I had some blurring issues when I try and show it because I forgot it was on the automatic, it was on fixed focus instead of automatic focus. And I'm also using the Dollar Tree little mason jar there that they're putting out now for all the seasons, so that's pretty easy to find. And we're going to start off by giving the inside of this one coat of my homemade white chalk paint. Next, I'm going to use a super tiny little screwdriver to remove the top part. I got so caught up in this craft, I actually forgot about it. For a while there, I thought I would leave it on too, but I don't like the other side, so this will not be a reversible sign. But anyway, another print up on tissue paper, and this time I'm using the water method to tear it off because I want the edges to be really shredded like a napkin. You just use a little bit of water on a paintbrush, go around the edges and lightly pull, and it will give you a nice shredded look on the edge of your tissue paper. I'm using a glue stick to glue it down, and that's what it looks like. And then I decide I want this sign to look a little 3D. So I take 6 of the towering wooden blocks, glue 3 of them together in a row, and glue it on the underside so that it will kind of lift this mason jar up. I reattach the little metal part on the top, and I'm just going to distress the edges of this mason jar with a little bit of gray paint from Apple Barrel Paint. Again, any gray color will work, and I also distress the edges. Now I do go in and I paint my towering blocks white because I kind of want them to blend in and disappear. And now I'm taking some of the antique wax. I use the one by Folk Art, and I'm just mixing it. Well, actually I mixed it with a little tiny bit of water to make it more spreadable. If you try and do it just dry, it kind of sticks and smudges. If you want it to get like a wood grain look like this where it's nice and soft, which is what I wanted, you need to add a little bit of water to your antique wax. And I go ahead and brush it on, and you can see what I ended up with. And now I decide to tie a little bit of twine around the top of the mason jar just for some added cuteness, and I hold it down with a craft stick in the back, and I'm going to glue my mason jar down. Now I just grabbed a bunch of my favorite florals from the Dollar Tree, and I cut them up into little short stems, shorter so the stems won't hang out the bottom. Although I am planning on putting some Spanish moss on the bottom underneath, but I'm just creating this beautiful flower arrangement here, and I think it came up absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if the camera does this one justice, but this is one of my favorites for sure. It is stunning in real life. It's super heavy, and I don't know, against the wood. I want to do something different than shiplap because, I did a lot of shiplap in my previous videos, and I'm assuming a lot of you have that in your home already. So I thought just wood grain with the flowers would make it pop, and it sure did. I'm adding my Spanish moss, giving it a little bit of a hair trim, and that's it. We're all done. Let me know what you think. This is a Dollar Tree item that I got that I've kind of been picking apart for different DIYs, and I thought it would be totally cute for the style I'm going for right now. Now I'm going to start covering the stripes with some red paint to cover up that glitter. It's a little too flashy for the style, and I'm using Apple Barrel Paint in the color Candy Apple. I'm also going to be covering up those white stripes with more Apple Barrel Paint in Antique Parchment to tone them down as well. And I did want to mention, if you guys do want to sand off the glitter, be sure to throw it away in your trash can and not in the, down the sink or wash it down the gutter or whatever. I guess the glitter is going into the oceans, and it's killing our sea life because obviously it's difficult to breathe with billions little pieces of plastic floating around. So I just want to pass it on because a lot of crafters don't know this, and so definitely throw your glitter away and get it into the landfill where it belongs. So now I'm taking some of the antique parchment. I'm just doing a light dry brushing over the top. This actually came out so awesome looking, you guys. It kind of looks like blue jeans, and I think it's because I painted over the glitter. It has like a texture to it, and the whole denim look is just perfect for the whole look that I'm going for. So I'm using some of those towering blocks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just making a little stand for the back of it to hold it up. I'm also using Dollar Tree candle holders there, those little tiny half ones, and this little glass dish at the top here is also in the candle section at the Dollar Tree, and I use some super glue by Gorilla. It's Gorilla Glue, but it's a super glue, and hot glue, both together to glue that down. And now I'm just dry brushing with a little bit of the Elephant Gray, also an Apple Barrel Paint, to kind of distress this and make it look awesome. Isn't that awesome? And that's going to be my little base for my flag. I actually used that in an Easter project for an egg, and because Easter's over, we're using it for this, so it worked perfect. Taking a little bit of the raffia I got on Amazon. Love that stuff. It's down below in my description box if you're interested. I'm using a little bit of Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of like open it in the middle there so that the back of those little towering blocks can sit right there so it stays standing up. You see what I'm doing right there. So I'm still having trouble getting it to stand, so I do end up taking another towering block and gluing it at an angle just so it leans back a little bit, because I think that looks better. But I was actually shocked at how cute this DIY came out. It's perfect for what I'm going for. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know how many of you are fans of Pinterest, but I found this gal on there. She has a blog or a website called Burlap Kitchen. I absolutely love her style. If you're out there and you see this, thank you so much. You have a great imagination. Now, I made this DIY. I made it a little bit differently. You always put your own twist on it, but she was definitely my inspiration. And you're going to need a Dollar Tree wooden star. So here's the deal. I accidentally deleted I deleted it. I didn't lose it. I actually deleted the video with the first part of this DIY on it. It was super easy though, so it's easy to explain. But it was on the D drive, and instead of going to my recyclable bin, it just disappeared off the computer. My son spent 10 hours trying to get it, and we just couldn't. So there's your free printable paper, the stars that you're going to need, and you're going to need some of those towering blocks. I didn't have a crate, so I went ahead and made a crate. This is a crate that I made. I used 2 towering blocks in the corner, and then I just cut my craft sticks to fit. So pretty self-explanatory. Easier to do, obviously, is to go to the Dollar Tree and just buy one of their crates, which is what I think she did. But hey, I winged it because I didn't have a crate, and I really love this craft, and I wanted to make it. I'm using a star off of that Dollar Tree flag. I'm going to go ahead and print up the distress flag again that I used for the previous craft, but this time I'm only going to use the red and white stripes. So that's the part of the video you lost, but it's very self-explanatory. I just covered the star with that. So here I am gluing the crate down on my star-covered star-covered star. And then I'm taking the little star, and I did the red stripe little lines kind of sideways there. I thought that was cute. I'm using a votive candle that you get at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue just to hold it a little bit more sturdy than it was before. And I am totally comfortable with using tea lights with real open flames in anything that escapes the heat. Like, it's not really a fire hazard. Any candle is a fire hazard if you walk away from it. So I never walk away from mine. So I'm very comfortable. If you're not, you can always get an electrical little tea light from the Dollar Tree. They sell those. And then I just added some of the Dollar Tree floral moss, not the reindeer moss because it doesn't smell as bad, and some of the boxwood that I got from Amazon, but you can get that at Walmart as well. I'm going to light this up, and I think this came up absolutely beautiful. I love this DIY, and I would love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? But I just took some Rust-Oleum chalk paint because that is a very nice, strong chalk paint that doesn't require a primer. I painted 2 coats of it on the back side of the pizza pan. I actually have decided I prefer the back side of the pizza pan for these types of projects. So I'm now using the apple barrel paint in Candy Apple, and I'm doing some red stripes, and I am painting them down the sides because you are going to see that a little bit with this craft. I don't worry if it gets a little sloppy on the ledge there because I'm going to go ahead and cover the ledge with a trim, but I am careful to do the sides, and I'm just kind of touching everything up to make it nice and neat. Next, I'll do some dry brushing with white paint to tone this red down. That's the look again I love. That's the look I'm going for. It's a very soft, subtle, rustic. I actually think like the old flag, you know, if you found like an antique flag, whatever that feeling is you get when you see things that look kind of old and worn, I think it's perfect for the 4th of July decor. At least for me, when I do the 4th of July, I'm not going to do anything really, really loud. Everything's going to be really soft and muted. So I found this at the Dollar Tree. It was like a little welcome sign with a truck on it there with the flag. And again, I'm using this star. Now on this craft, I just use this star as a template to trace a star. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to go ahead and lay my truck down and trace my star. And then we're going to go ahead and paint the star blue. So I will tell you ahead of time because I had a lot of questions about this. When I go to trace the star blue, I am using a chalk pen. It's from like a bright, bold chalk marker set, which my son-in-law got at Walmart. But for whatever reason, I don't think this blue is bright and bold. I actually think it's a very soft blue. It was a perfect blue I was looking for, very much like a denim color. And when I was all done coloring it in, because it was kind of a dry, chalky type paint, I guess, it naturally distressed itself. As you can see, I didn't even need to do anything. I just think this came up so perfect. It looks almost like I think I mentioned in the last video, it was like a denim look, or maybe even like velvety. It's just perfect for this craft. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some of the Dollar Tree nautical rope around the edge, and later you'll see me add another strand because I do decide that this craft needs a little bit more than just one strand. I just wanted to take it up a notch and make it look that much better. So I do end up adding some more nautical rope down the road. I'm using some patriotic ribbon that I found at Hobby Lobby, 50% off. I bought the navy blue ticking stripe and then the regular old like flag stripes and stars ribbon right there, and I'm just going to tie a simple bow in the middle with some of the raffia I got from Amazon. I've also mentioned that in a couple of videos. I love that stuff. It's really strong, kind of performs more like a ribbon, but it's raffia. I guess maybe the hula skirt at the Dollar Tree is kind of similar, only this is a lot stronger. And so then I decide to wrap the red around, you know, because it comes in red, green, and that, you know, the classic raffia, which is kind of that light brown color. And then I decide to wrap it around my fingers right here, and I'm going to tie it and kind of make like a tassel type thing, but I decide to cut the ends of it to make like a spray formation, because in my mind I was trying to emulate like the feeling of those banners that are like a half circle, or maybe even fireworks exploding. I just wanted to kind of give it an energy there that was different than just a bow on top. So there I go, I'm gluing it on the top, and then I'm going to glue that fabric bow on top of that. Now, if you want to know how I make my bows, I do have a video called 10 Bow Hacks. It pretty much covers every single bow I make in every single video so that I don't have to do individual tutorials each time. It is time stamped, so you can just go through and see which bow you'd like to learn more about. Click on that time and it will take you right to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Oh, and that, I'm sorry. The link for that is always in my description box. I'm just going to always put it there because that way you can find your bows. And I'm going to take some raffia to tie this in, you guys, because after I did that, I thought, well, that looks kind of plain, Holly. So I'm taking just some more of the raffia. I wrapped it up to make a raffia bow, and I'm going to glue that on top of the fabric bow, and it just looks so cute. It ties everything in. Now here's the Dollar Tree truck again, and I love these little metal things, but for my taste, they're a little shinier than I'm comfortable with. So what I usually do and did, is that I take white paint. You can also use like an antique parchment, just a light paint. And I'm basically rubbing it on and rubbing it off. I'm dry brushing it so much that it's so dry that there's very little left behind. What is left behind is actually very beautiful. It adds to the piece, but the goal here is to remove all of the shine on top of the metal. I just think that kind of makes it look more rustic and ties it in with the entire look. So see that hole on the top of the hood there? That did end up driving me nuts. 2 days later, I didn't film it. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I did it for myself and I totally forgot. I'm sorry, you guys, but I did end up filling that in with spackling. Easy enough to do once it's glued down. And then I painted it blue, did a little dry brushing to camouflage it, and it looked great. You can do that too. And I am using Gorilla Glue to glue that truck down. So make sure you use a high quality hot glue if you're going to glue it down, or use a cold glue. And there I go. I'm gluing my second row of nautical rope on the edge of the border. I really think that made it look so much better. It came up absolutely beautiful. I end up using a little bit of fire, I always do, to burn off the hair because those little nautical ropes are furry. And I actually like it when it gets charred a little bit. That doesn't bother me. I think it adds to the whole look. But let me know what you think. This is another burlap kitchen inspired craft, only I'm making, it different. I'm obviously making it for like a smaller version here, a tiered tray, but you can make this DIY in any size. You can do it with a piece of 2x4 all the way up to a huge piece of wood. I just wanted my dinky for my tiered tray. So I'm taking the towering blocks. I'm going to glue 3 of them together. I hope you can see what I did there. Working with towering blocks is difficult because you actually have to see a visual, but I took 3s like that, piled them on top of each other, and I just did 2 rows of those and then glued that together so it makes it a lot thicker. And that's how we made that. And then I'm going to use this star print up again because it's perfect for the primitive look I'm going for, and I'm going to cover the half bottom part of this little towering block formation thing here. I'm just using a glue stick. I like the glue stick because it doesn't leave wrinkles and it just works really well for me. I haven't had any bad luck with it so far. I mean, if you're going to glue fabric down or something like that, you probably definitely have to go for your bigger guns, the Mod Podge. But if you're just using paper or tissue paper, glue stick 9 out of 10 times works brilliantly. And so you can see here, I'm just folding it over the edge, and at the top I used again the apple barrel paint in the candy apple red, and I did little stripes on the top, and then I'm just taking some white paint, and that one is also just apple barrel brand, and I'm filling in between the little white stripes. Now I'm painting the little middle part there white, but I do end up going over it with a second coat in the antique parchment just to tone it down a little bit and make it a little bit more warm. And that's what we have so far. And then I take a craft stick, I cut it a little bit, at the edge there. Well, we're making a little Uncle Sam here. That's what it is. So that's going to be the ledge of his hat there, that craft stick I just cut and painted white. And then I decide I want my little striped hat to go all the way around the sides as well. So I end up painting the white. And while it's drying, I start painting this little part here that's going to be the rim of his hat. I'm just using some of the apple barrel paint in burnt umber, and I'm distressing the edges. So you can see I dry brushed it with white paint just to kind of give it a soft little hue there of just a little like almost whitewash of white paint, and I'm distressing it now with the burnt umber. And in pencil, I'm going to write the 1776 on there, right there. And I'm going to trace it in the furniture marker in black. You can use a permanent black marker, whatever you want. That's just what I had on hand. And now that my white paint is dry, I'm going to go ahead and finish my little stripes up the side of his hat. Using a little bit of hot glue, I'm going to glue the rim of his hat on at a slight angle. And here comes the antique parchment. I'm going to just put that on nice and soft. I just felt like if that was going to be his face, I wanted to tone it down just a little bit again to kind of help it tie in with the rest of the decor I've done. And then I wrapped some twine at the bottom, and I glued a little wood bead for his nose. I used some of the Spanish moss to make a beard, and then I took a permanent marker for his eyes and used 2 towering blocks on the back so he could stand up, and I love this one. This is a great tiered tray decor piece. For this project, I glued my towering blocks in these formations. So first I made the square, and I kind of just went around and made an L. I don't know if you can tell. Again, this is hard to describe, so I'm just going to leave this picture here for a while so that you can see what I did. You put the towering block in the corner, then you put one down at the bottom like a weird shaped L, and you do this exact same thing on the opposite side until you just make little squares, and then I glued all those squares on top of each other, so there's 4 of them all together. I'm going to make 6 of them all together. So once I made this row of 4, I'm going to glue 2 of them together, and then I'm going to leave 2 of them single. If you see that little pink flowered thing peeking out too, that's my crafting apron. I finally got smart and started wearing an apron, you guys. I started throwing away so many shirts from glue on it and paint on it, and I finally went, you know, what are you doing? Just put something on. So my daughter actually gave me one of her little aprons that she had. I think when she cooked Thanksgiving dinner once, she bought these 2 cute aprons with these little flowers on. She gave me one for crafting. I think it's so cute. So I'm wearing an apron. So you probably see the little pink flowers peek out every now and again when I'm crafting, but boy, you guys, if you craft aprons, like the cloth aprons are great. You can just wipe your hands straight on them and throw them in the laundry when you're done, and it saves a lot of nice shirts. And I'm really using those cuticle clippers. I don't know if you noticed that, because with the wood glue, when it's wood hot glue, you have to move really fast before it dries and rip it off, or you cannot get it off, and it will make it all lumpy, and then your little blocks won't go together very well. So now I'm going to glue the sides on, and I am not making a lantern. For those of you that thought I was, I'm not going to do the even sides. I actually decided to do pillars. I actually am going to make another one of these. Well, by the time this video comes out, I would have made another one, and I'm going to give it to my neighbor because she has her home like an island decor. She uses a lot of gourds. There's like, I don't know what they call it. I think it's the Day of the Dead or whatever. She has like those little skeleton people but they look really cute. They're all dressed in these cute little costumes, a lot of bamboo in her home, and I just thought it fit perfect in her decor theme. She will probably put it, I'm guessing, at the bottom of her, well, I'm envisioning it at the bottom of her fireplace on either side, and she can put a plant on top of it, a candle, some beads, whatever, you know, she wants. This is kind of like a riser, I guess, in a way, because it's like a mini pillar, but I think it's perfect for that kind of decor in particular. If you do coastal decor, anything, well, I think these look a little bit like bamboo, so anything that, you know, coastal decor themes, any kind of island theme, and I think modern decor definitely too. This is perfect for that. You can make some really fancy schmancy stuff with these little towering blocks. But I end up doing a row of 8 of the towering blocks, right? And then I glue 3 of those together. You can see it right there to create the top and the bottom of this pillar. For my next project, I decided to use 3 salad dressing bottles, and I actually got these at Aldi's, and I'm starting off with painting them white. Now, I'm not too concerned about getting a super full coverage at the bottom half of the bottle because we're going to be covering them in a minute, but I will end up doing a second coat on the top half. Here's the Dollar Tree vinyl. I used it in a previous video. I had some left, and I thought, you know, I think this will look really, really cute. I had a feeling, I was hoping that when I put these on, because they're shiny, that it would look like actual ceramic. You know, like it was, when you go into Hobby Lobby or Michael's, you'll find this buffalo check on bottles where it's actually part of the bottle. It's painted onto the ceramic glaze, and I was hoping that's what these would do, and sure enough they did. When you get all the wrinkles out, at first glance, they look just like a ceramic bottle. They look really expensive, but here's what I would do differently if I had to do it again, is I would take the bottles, I would do a second coat on the top half of the bottle, and then I would take it outside and use a gloss sealant so that the top part's really shiny, and then the whole thing I think would look, it still looks really, really good, but as I was studying it, I thought, you know, I don't have any, unfortunately, in gloss right now, but and my daughter-in-law, she took this, she loves it. So in fact, it's so cute. I gave it to her before I took a picture of it, so I asked her to send me a picture back, and she staged it in her little kitchen. It was really cute. But I thought if I had to do it again, and if you guys do this project, I should mention that to you, that if you want the shine to go all the way up to make it look even more authentic, you might want to consider doing that before you stick the vinyl on. So now I'm just taking some leftover burlap that I have from a Dollar Tree wine bag that I got at Christmas time, and I glued it in half. I'm going to tie it with the jute twine, and then I'm just going to cut them on either end to kind of make them look like a flat bow. I just thought that would be kind of different. It's a new look that I've never done before, and it did. It turned up really cute. And now here's where I go in and I do a second coat on top of the bottles, because I realized when everything's said and done, it didn't look quite right. And I decided to use this cute little wooden box to sit them in. I had bought a basket for them originally from the Dollar Tree, but they were a little bit too big, and the wooden box ended up being so cute with the little feet and everything. It worked perfect. We're using the leftover dried flowers from my Mother's Day bouquet, and that's it. They're going to be all done here, and you're going to see that, you know, I usually stage my DIYs, but you'll actually see how they are sitting right today in the kitchen at my daughter-in-law's house, which I thought is super cute. I always have so much fun turning real trash to treasure. It's so rewarding, and it's good for the planet. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And as always, until the next one, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.